Hi, I'm Cheryl Kagan, very proud to be the Senator for Gaithersburg and Rockville. Welcome to this week's edition of Kibbitzing with Kagan, brief conversations with people I find fascinating. With me today is the phenomenal Secretary of Commerce, Kevin Anderson. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for taking time to chat today.
Thanks so much, Senator Kagan. It's special to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You have had an extraordinary career, so I want to do a little bit in the past. Mostly, I want to focus on your plans and programs and priorities. But I think we've got to do a lot on where you came from. So, like me, you are a DC native, except you went to fancy schools. You went to Groton and then went to Stanford and the Kennedy School at Harvard, and then you went into bond sales and equity capital. So I want to push just one pause button because unlike the trajectory that would mean for most people, you then shifted to socially responsible, extraordinary work using those skills and that background. So why don't you just give us a sense of the foundation of your career?
Career-wise, it was, I graduated from college in the late 80s in 1989, and at the time, it was a big, in investment banking and consulting craze, and having those opportunities were extraordinary and really good things to do. So, I transitioned from Palo Alto to Philadelphia, and worked for a great boutique investment banking firm where I worked in the municipal finance industry and in bond selling industry. We did a lot of corporate bonds, and I tell everybody I got a chance to see what America was really all about, and I call it the American hustle in a great way. And really got a chance to see, sold bonds to pension funds, money center banks, investment managers, and use the finance skill to really see the credit, to understand growth, to see how we built things in America and how we managed ourselves. And it was just a really great opportunity to again see America in that space. And then I think you mentioned that after 7 years I transitioned to Washington D.C. And when I transitioned back home, it was a big opportunity there because I was born and raised in Northeast DC in Ward 7, in a part of the city that's east of the river. And all that time, after I left for boarding school, I was away and kind of went back, and then I came back home and saw the space where I grew up and had a new set of experiences.
Yes.
And if someone had told me, Kevin, you'd probably be working for the district government, or there might be an opportunity to do that, I probably would have said, yeah, maybe, maybe not. But it was an extraordinary opportunity. Anthony Williams was the then CEO of Washington, D.C., was the presidentially appointed CEO. The city was pretty much in conservatorship, if you wanted to call it that. And I went to work for the city's chief economist. And it was a great opportunity to really begin to do, I was doing city work, but I was working for the CFO. And to make that long story short, Anthony Williams became mayor.
Right.
And after he got elected mayor, and this very well, Senator Kagan, that financial arm became a huge policy arm, and we began to do some really great work in the city, and we were very proud of that. And a lot of the things that I've done. One of the really big opportunities was really serving people and getting back into a place of service in the communities where I grew up.
Absolutely.
So,
well, let me just cut you off for a second. So City First Home was on affordable workforce housing that launched in 2008. I have also worked in affordable housing. It's really hard. It's controversial, and it's critically important.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So City First Homes was a really big opportunity, and it was a big social innovation opportunity that we saw in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
So if you remember back, we were right in the space of, I don't want to call it the condo craze, but our economy was really moving, and Washington D.C. was really at a place of its real estate market was doing really well, and we wanted to make sure that it began to grow in a balanced way. City First Bank, if you know the bank, it was one of 2 or 3 501c3 holding companies.
So
in
just to be
America.
clear, a 501c3 is an IRS designated nonprofit organization.
Yeah, yeah, bank holding company and a CDFI, um, uh, uh, a CDFI, and there was an
CDFI
idea.
translated community development
Community
finance.
development finance institution, exactly, in America.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kagan. And it was an opportunity to make sure that we wanted to go about a more balanced housing growth and housing planning. So we created a community land trust, and the community land trust, we partnered with developers to make sure that some of the market rate housing that was built with opportunities to have affordable housing
Yes.
connected with it. And how we were able to connect that, we use what we call the shared equity model. And you may know very well, Senator Kagan, in shared, I'm sorry,
So
shared equity.
we have so much to cover. I
I
wanna,
know.
I think your background is extraordinary and I want to give folks a sense of it, but I really,
Sure.
so EverFi, educational software. You also worked on community development and urban centers at Cardinal Alliance. You worked with the mayor, with Mayor Anthony Williams at
Williams,
DC Department of Transportation. You've
exactly.
you could be in any cabinet position. Why don't you just, is there anything out of those three that you want to talk about? And then I want to pivot to what we're doing
Yeah.
right now.
Sure. Yeah, well, Senator King, what it all comes down to, and I think, what all my experiences have always led me to was a couple of very, very important things. A really, really clear perspective about efficiency and excellence, and also equity. Everything that I had done in my life had come from intentional opportunities and really, really great places of doing well and doing good. And so all of those, always got connected. And it really just always instilled a sense in me of always saying, yes, we will and can maintain the sense of American exceptionalism and excellence that we always do. But at the same time, we can become even better than what we've kind of originally charted ourselves out to be in developing communities. And that
But
takes a really, really strong sense of kind of understanding and being able to put things together. And I've always come to kind of notice to say to myself, really, really great and strong development and opportunities come at the intersection of flourishing entrepreneurialism and great business and the way our systems work, but also a strong sense of public policy to make sure that we correct it and make sure we're able to manage it to the outcomes that are good for society. So those were
perfect.
all of them. And I was getting in the weeds a little bit about how
That's
all
so
of them
good.
experienced it, but that was just it, though, Senator Kagan. I'm
Well, you
sorry.
bring your passion for all of this. So let's pivot to how you're in this job. First off, when did you first
Sure.
cross paths? When did you first meet Wes Moore? And how did this go? How did the interview process go?
Yeah, I think I met him for the first time, as we said, when he was stumping, when he was on the campaign trail.
Yep.
And, the first time you always meet Wes Moore, you're like, wow, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
He's really, clearly, super talented in the generational talent. And
Yes.
so he really captures you. And there were a couple things, that he said when he was, when he was campaigning. He always talked about, being data driven but heart led.
Yes. Love
And
that.
when you capture that, it captures the essence of again, making sure what are the great experiences I think that a lot of us have, and saying, yeah, we have a really, really strong sense of doing things the right way,
Yes.
but then at the same time, we have to make sure that they work well,
Yes.
and that it goes in the place where it needs to be.
So
And
you
yeah,
met him on the campaign trail. Did you put your name in or did you get an unexpected call?
yeah,
How did it go?
Yeah, it came through quickly, Senator Kagan, that we had a lot of mutual friends and people
Sure.
who knew us both well, I think, and they said it might be a great match, Kevin, to kind of work together. I wasn't in a rush to get back into government. I was in the space of doing a lot of work in the community through ESG, through economics, social and governance opportunities, and connecting investment capital and resources to really keep strong community development and social impact functions. And so then it was a big match and a big opportunity there. So when the thought came, when he was talking about it, and the governor was being really clear about, he's saying, hey, we're not going to be fall prey to the false choices of saying we can have a strong and thriving economy and it can be equitable.
Right.
Those are not mutually exclusive. And so that's how the opportunity came. And then we got the telephone call came. It was really, 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 really exciting because it was so much great momentum and to be a part of the team. And I guess as every secretary probably you've spoken with said, it was a really, really inspiring and heartwarming time when a guy like Wes Moore, who's now the governor, calls you and says, "Hey, I'd love for you to join the team and work with me to get this work done." And you go, "Absolutely." You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
So
you
tell
begin
me
to
what you inherited. So now you're the acting and then the official Secretary of Commerce, when you came on and then you were approved through the Senate, executive nominations process. What percentage of vacancies did you experience? I imagine yours might have been lower than some
yeah,
other departments.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. We were around 6%,
Oh yeah,
around 6 or 7%.
that's
It
reasonable.
wasn't a big number, but yet there were some vacancies to be filled. But for me, Senator Kagan, what was shown to me was that over time, the organization had been, I don't know if downsize is the word, but had started moving away from staffing up, and moving away from creating strong functions, as it had in the past and where it was right now. And so I even though it was at a 6% vacancy rate, you kind of have conversations with your new staff, and they said, "Kevin, well, we had 9 people that did this before, and now we only have 3.
Got
Or
it.
we had a staff of 7, and now we only have a staff of 2." So those
Right.
were just some of the responses about the vacancies and the shape of the agency. Yeah.
Yes. So Governor Moore has been very clear. This is Maryland's decade. And he has warned other governors, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for your businesses. I am going to travel and domestically and internationally and bring home
Mhm.
jobs, bring home
Yes.
businesses. So make the pitch. I am a business leader or a nonprofit leader, and I'm thinking about relocating. Why would I come to Maryland? Make
So we
the elevate 30-second elevator pitch.
the 30-second elevator pitch is that the state of Maryland has all of the assets and all of the opportunities that you need to run your business. We're the second most educated state in the United States of America. Our research institutions and our educational system is one of the best in the country. We receive more federal funding for research than any other state in the nation. And coming to Maryland, you have all of the aspects of wanting to grow a business, from workforce development to a great transportation and infrastructure system, our mountains, our resources, our tourism, film, and development. Because when you bring a business, you're not looking at just the pieces of wanting to make sure that your business does well, but that your ecosystem and the people that you bring and the families that you bring to Maryland will prosper and be a part of a great economy.
Amen.
And the way, yeah, exactly. So that's the 30 second. That's the elevator
That's
pitch.
that's good. So Governor Moore is clearly our best ambassador. How
Mhm.
that must be a great opportunity for you to get out there with him. He makes the pitch, and then you follow up and collect all the business cards and stuff. Um, so marketing, I am actually on the Maryland Marketing Partnership Board and have been for
Sure,
a bunch of
sure.
years. So putting the word out through social media and through targeted advertising and stuff about all of our assets. What do you find is the biggest challenge? What don't people know about Maryland that you want to educate?
Um, just the level of opportunity and the greatness of our infrastructure, to do business. We have land. We do great in the ag space. We have lots of opportunity for manufacturing. We have a very, very strong and educated workforce and a wonderful educational system.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we really want to be able to show and market a lot more about what it is to come to the state of Maryland.
Yes.
We're right here in the Mid-Atlantic and one of the strongest regional economies.
Mhm.
But here in Maryland, we even have the best of the best that we can market about all of the relationships that we have in terms of having access to all of the wonderful functions of the federal government, all
Yes.
of our manufacturing opportunities. And we just got to do a real good job of getting out and marketing it and getting the communication out and making
Yes.
sure that people see what we have to offer.
So the fact that Maryland has NIH, the National Institutes of Health, I always brag about NIST, which too many people leave off their list, the National Institutes of Standards and Technology.
Exactly.
We've got NSA, the Nationals, the Security NSA
Agency,
Agency.
NSA. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there are so many assets, and all the companies that work with
sure.
these agencies are huge. I was thinking about from tech to rec, from technology, and my district is the home of a lot of high-tech businesses and lifestyle
Exactly.
businesses, to recreation with the bay and the mountains, and access to, as you said, tourism, film, and the arts. And we have so many wonderful museums and theaters and assets there. So how do you figure out when incentives are needed, when it's not just the right reasons, but they need a little something dangled?
Yeah, well, you take a look at what your local competition's doing, obviously, what your regional competition, and then what your market is going, and then ultimately what the businesses believe or know that they need for maybe an operational or strategic space to locate. And those are from having conversations and really having a good grip on your on the business. So when you take a look at tax credits and loans and all of the incentives, different companies are at different places in their evolution about where they want to be, how much they want to invest, where they see their growth opportunities. And it's up to us to kind of discern and see and work with them as great partners to see how we can help them to help them grow. In different stages, they may be in a true strong workforce development opportunity. In other spaces, they might be in an R&D opportunity, and then they could very
Research
well
and
be in an
development.
expansion.
Yes.
I'm sorry, research and development. They could very well be in an expansion opportunity. So it's up to us to be really, really good, good partners, and seek and have great conversations with them about where their needs are, and what they need, and how we can create, proper and correct and efficient incentives to make sure we get them to the next step in their development and their
Yeah.
evolution. And it's really clear to be that way. And when you're growing businesses, some businesses really have a sweet spot, sometimes when they're at a 25 $50 million cap, a specific amount of employees. And then we have our Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies, that are looking to get even scaled even more, and to be able to compete even better, and making sure innovation and all the other opportunities are there that we can create and help. And at the end of the day, our big opportunity is to make sure that we use our state's resources to make sure that we leverage, the private capital and their ability to continue their business and grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you keep saying business, but commerce is also about the nonprofit sector, where our governor came
Absolutely.
from, where I came from, also
And I
you
think that
came from.
good call. Exactly.
So I want to say business and nonprofit.
Right.
And the Department of Commerce has done an excellent job overseeing NIMBLE, the nonprofit interest-free micro bridge loans for nonprofits. And your staff has been terrific at that. We do have some national nonprofits that are established in Maryland. Do they ever come to Commerce and say, help us, or we're thinking about relocating, or is it really mostly the business sector?
It's mostly the businesses, but as you know very well, Senator Kagan, nonprofits are just a most important part of any business and societal ecosystem. And so we're always anxious to help and position as best we can to make sure they perform really, really vital functions and essential functions for growing industry and growing communities. And again, making sure that the quality assurance functions, I believe, in making sure society does well, are in place. So we can never, always want to be able to make sure we support our nonprofits. And again, that's another thing that we probably should market a lot more, because we are most rich here in our region, especially in the state of Maryland,
Yeah.
which gives us an opportunity to be so attractive for workforce and for people to come and build businesses and raise families.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the things that has fascinated me and some of my viewers is the interconnection among the cabinet department. None of you have the ability, especially in the Moore-Miller administration, to be siloed and just work on economic development, or just work on planning or transportation or agriculture. Talk about some of the ways in which you work with other departments. Like, the first thing that occurs to me is transportation, the Department of Transportation,
Correct.
Secretary Wiedefeld, because we have the Port of Baltimore, which is critically important, and like the third largest source of economic development or something? Tell us a little bit about how you work with others.
Sure, it's one of the most essential functions, and I think biggest opportunities that we want to make sure that we coordinate better. You may have heard the governor say, at times we're resource strong, but at times we're coordination weak. And
Mhm.
that's where we really need to capture the synergy so we can make sure that our economic development functions are really, really strategic and well implemented tactically. And so the ways that we have to go about doing it, we have a function, even in the Department of Commerce, we have a commerce subcabinet. And that's where we take the opportunity to make sure that we're connected and we're working together and we're moving in the same direction. I think, as you know, right now,
Why don't you
economic development.
define why don't you just tell us the sub-cabinet includes a whole bunch of other cabinet secretaries?
Exactly, that's exactly right. Planning, transportation, um, labor, the environment,
Yeah.
all of our institutions that connect with economic development. We get in a room and we make sure that we're coordinated with how we're building businesses and what we want to do to make sure that the ecosystem functions well. We can't talk about economic development anymore in our generation without making sure that workforce is connected, our transportation infrastructure is clear, our housing opportunities are connected, what
Yes.
we need to do with clean energy and making our ecosystems and our environment in the same place. And
Right.
so what it calls for now, Senator Kagan, is to make sure that we're very, very strategic when we start that. So when the governor and I make that telephone call and it says, hey, here come the Maryland, here's what we have,
Yeah.
we're going to be really, really clear and really, really sharp to say, here's what we're offering and here's how our ecosystem is working and here's how we're going to deliver a really comprehensive, great
Yeah.
economic opportunity for you and your company. That's
Right.
how we're making sure we get it coordinated.
Right. So in
Yeah,
addition to your whole department, in addition to the sub-cabinet, in addition to all that, you have 13 boards and commissions under you.
exactly.
I'm on two of them.
Lovely. Yeah.
I'm also on the State Arts Council. I represent the Senate. And you reference tourism, film, and the arts. How do you keep all the trains running on time, and how do you make sure that each of them are doing their part?
Yeah, great having a great staff and making sure that we really spend time, connecting the dots and making sure the opportunities are there. So with 13 boards, there's a really, really strong sense that you have to have of coordination and
Yeah.
making sure that the outcomes are connected. And it's really, really important because again, it's a very important part of overall economic development. Economic development can't be siloed, as you mentioned, and to make sure that we have our partners and our stakeholders and our leadership, plugged in from all parts of society is really, really important for that. And that's where I think, again, our administration is in a great position of making sure we bring a wide range and a diverse set of ideas and thoughts and visions for equity to make sure that we get all the input. And that's where it happens at the board level and at the leadership level and at the stakeholder level. So that's kind of how we manage it, Senator Kagan. You just get after it and get it done.
Absolutely. Uh,
Yeah,
well, Kevin Plank at Under Armour would appreciate all that. Um,
absolutely.
you just led me to my next question, which is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's got to be a key value and priority for the Moore Miller administration and for all of us. How, as you do outreach and stuff, how do you keep that in mind as a top value and priority?
Sure, just making sure that when you structure, and when you design, that you're including all communities. I think sometimes we can be, quick with structures that are really, really focused on, maximum efficiency, and that being, maximum output. Sometimes they're our first, response in making sure we use all of the resources to get to that outcome. But you have to make sure you put it in when you design it, when you think through it, to make sure that all of your DEI, thoughts and opportunities about building organizations, rebuilding government, rebuilding oversight functions, rebuilding, manufacturing functions, and everything that we do, it has to go in it in the thinking. And when we're talking about bringing people together
Yeah.
and making sure the opportunities permeate through all societies, and you have to be intentional about it. Sometimes just naturally going through recruitment processes or naturally going through, functions that would normally serve, business function or government function may not produce the outcomes and the people outcomes that we seek. So you
Right.
got to be really intentional about going out and searching and hunting and making sure that everybody's included,
Yes.
and making sure that you bring those experiences to the table.
So, have you seen Barbie, the movie yet?
I haven't. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
that's
haven't.
okay.
Okay.
This may be a bit of a stretch,
Okay.
but in the movie, the boardroom at Mattel is a bunch of middle-aged white guys.
Yes.
So we can be intentional, but what do you do with a company that we want to bring to Maryland who's a bunch who isn't focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion? How can we encourage that and make it clear?
Sure. You sit down and have and have great conversations, and you begin to talk about, the outcomes and how the community that you want that you live in and that you want to be a part of. And those are conversations that you have, with the leadership, to talk about. And then I believe we can bring resources and bring opportunities to those corporations. And that's how I believe that we do it. You know what I mean? And when we sit down and we talk about, here's how you can really become a great corporate partner and really even further your bottom line. I mean,
And
that's the reality of it.
use our diverse
Exactly.
and talented workforce.
Exactly. And use our tremendously, talented and also well-structured workforce
Yes.
to be able to deliver that. I've come to find, Senator Kagan, that, one of the biggest excuses is that, well, I don't see, I can't
I
find, I don't
I
know
hate
where
that.
they exist.
I hate that.
And if we can do a great job to say, you know what, here it is, you know what I
Yes.
mean, and make it really, really plain and intentional,
Yes.
then I think it becomes a much easier process to only, reveal the great opportunities and the great outcomes that
Right.
come from DE and I.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about two of the biggest and best and most exciting opportunities for Maryland. Fingers are totally crossed that we're going to get
Okay.
the FBI building here in
Okay.
Bridges County and the Commanders, the team
Okay.
that I grew up with another name that has been very frustrating under Dan Snyder, but now it has a new life with new leadership. How can we, how is the Department of Commerce focused on bringing the Commanders and bringing the FBI building? Because we know Governor Moore has been all over both.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're poised, and I think the GSA will be making the decision
The General
over the
Services
next several months. Because
Administration,
outside the
the
General
decision
Services
maker.
Administration, I
Yes.
know we'll be making their decision. But I think we put forth a really, really, great effort. I was very, very proud to be in the meeting when Team Maryland, the governor, the lieutenant governor, our congressional delegation, our local delegation, really made our pitch
Yes.
about not only why it was a great opportunity, about why we deserved it, and why it was clearly the best opportunity, if they laid out their intentions for what they wanted the FBI to serve, for it to be. And it was one of my proudest moments to be a Marylander and to be a part of that. And once you do that and put that foot forward, we all kind of walk in the space of saying, hey, we've done our job and things will be the way that they be. And if, and things will be the way they are.
Mr.
And
Secretary,
decisions.
that might have been being in the meeting, might have been one of your proudest moments. I want
Certainly,
the proudest moment to be when you are there at the press conference
press
announcing that you're
conference.
coming to Maryland, and when you're at the groundbreaking with a shovel in
Okay.
your hand, and at the ribbon cutting with a pair of scissors in your hand. Those are the proud moments I wish for you and for the governor.
That's coming next, exactly, and it will be, and that will be a really, really proud moment. And again, with the Commanders,
Yeah.
we're gonna be there, and I think uh, we're gonna show up.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're not only are we gonna show up, we're gonna be really, really aggressive and intentional, like we do about making sure that the Commanders, be continue and stay to be a Maryland team. So
Yes.
we're really excited about that, and the ownership has just transitioned, and I believe the governor was actually out to make a visit today even.
Good.
So it's pretty coincidental, but we're really excited about that opportunity too, and to have those conversations with the new ownership.
That's often
We're really
awesome.
excited.
I want to start to wrap up, but
Okay.
COVID, what sort of ongoing challenges does it present? are we still feeling, I suspect you're still seeing the after effects because people are teleworking, so office vacancies and
Yeah.
all that. So why don't you talk about that? But the governor is talking about our employment numbers, which are up.
Sure. I think, COVID has had some, some long-term effects for our, office, as every other city in the country,
Of course.
but just about rebounding and coming back. But I think those in our cities and in states where we're going to be really creative and make sure we create opportunities and adaptive reuse opportunities for our real estate downtown and attracting our new workforce population. Let's not be defensive. Let's be offensive and very strategic about what we have to do when change comes. And
Yes.
let's make sure we're real innovative and we're able to capture and make sure we see the new workforce economy and how we want to structure ourselves and be able to capitalize on it. I think there are going to be some new opportunities that come to the fore over the next several years about how much of a traditional downtown workforce operation that we have and how much of a new structured hybrid workforce place that we're going to be. So when we do that, I think we're going to be we'll be fine and we'll be
Yeah.
aggressive, and I think we're going to be on the cutting edge and making that happen about how we respond and work in the workforce space.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the exciting things must be about your job is
Mhm.
not just the diversity of our population, but the diversity of our geography, and all that has to offer. So it's not just the amazing things that are in Baltimore, but in Montgomery County, in Frederick, in Havre de Grace, in Hagerstown, in Charles County, on the
In,
Eastern
in,
Shore.
in Cumberland and Oakland and in St. Mary's and in Caroline County and
All
Cecil
directed.
County and
Yeah. Yeah.
Hampton, all over. We opened up the largest Great Wolf Lodge operation in Cecil County this year, and
Yes.
it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. So
Yes.
yeah, and again, from we have a saying, the governor from Oakland to Ocean City, from
Yes.
Westminster to Waldorf. I
Yes.
mean, the fantastic space that Maryland is, and it's going to truly be Maryland's decade with all of the great assets that we have and how we're going to leverage them well and make sure we have, one of the most, if not the most thriving economy of any state in the United States of America. We're really excited about it.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
before we go to our Fast Five,
Okay.
this is going to be Maryland's decade, but this is also going to be Secretary Anderson's decade. I just want to do
Okay.
a moment on your family. Your wife
Okay.
Tiffany is a Prince George's County Circuit Court judge, and you
Okay.
have 3 kids, all K's. Kendall, Kay, and Colby. Poor Tiffany is left out of the K club there.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about how you balance work-life balance and how you have time to raise 3 amazing kids.
Yeah, it's been great, and you mentioned that, and I can't give public credit to my wife. You know what I mean, in the family, those who have, we have three children, and my wife's a strong professional, and a lot of help and love just the same. But it's just an incredible operation that we have, and we're really blessed. And so it goes about being really uh, you know intentional again, in particular, when we're kind of spending time with the family and
Yes.
making sure that we get home and do the things that we need to do and raise a family. So it's been a blessing, but yet hard work. And when I started as the Secretary of Commerce, my wife, we kind of talked about it. We said, wow, and I'm just really, really, blessed and a big opportunity, even in her professional space. And
Yes.
she says, no, this is something that we all gotta work toward. Everybody's on board, the kids, the twins, and kind of everyone. And they go, hey, go Maryland, go Commerce, Team Anderson, Team Commerce. We're all moving in the
I
same
love it.
direction. And it's a
Amazing.
blessing to be able to do it. It is. I feel
Amazing.
really fortunate to be able to serve, for both of us to serve in the spaces that we do, and keep our family in a good space. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Commerce Secretary Kevin Anderson, you are extraordinary, and I'm so glad for the chance to get to know you more and others get to know some more about your background. It is time for the Fast Five. 5 quick
Okay.
questions, 5 quick answers. So first, question number 1, what is your all-time favorite movie? The one you never get tired of watching multiple times?
Wall Street. Wall
Okay.
Street.
That's pretty funny. Question 2. What do you do in the midst of all your stress? What do you do to relax?
I try to play golf
Okay,
and try to exercise.
good for you.
Yeah.
And what has been your favorite family vacation?
Uh, Going to Disney, having a trip to Disney. That's been a favorite. My wife happens to be from California, so we go to see our family in California. And when we do, we always make a trip to Disney, and it's just been the funnest family vacation to do Splash Mountain and to see the look on the kids' face. And every time that we go, it's just been special. So it's a real blessing to have that, and that's been our fun family vacation.
So we have to
Yeah.
be clear that it's Disneyland and not Disney
Disneyland. I'm sorry, not World.
because
Exactly. Disney World in Florida.
Ron
Exactly. That's
DeSantis,
correct.
Ron DeSantis with his, slavery was good for the enslaved and ban books and never say gay and all of the crazy. I'm glad you go to Disney in California.
We're gonna pull Disney World of Maryland, right? That's what we need
That
to
would be
do.
unbelievable. Let's take some other stuff. They can keep Disney, but we'll just all go to California. Question
Right.
4. What is the best tip a mentor has ever given you?
Oh wow, the best tip a mentor has ever given me. Uh, Probably that tomorrow's another day. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Tomorrow's another day, and all of the work and effort. To tomorrow's another day. Just keep at it.
So if
Just keep at
today,
it.
if
And
today gave you a setback or a disappointment,
exactly,
start fresh. I love
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
And question number 5, Secretary Kevin Anderson, the question that I ask of everyone. What
Okay.
is your hidden secret superpower? What is a skill or talent you have, something you're
Okay.
really good at that most folks can't do?
No, I would probably say that I will find something uh, that we have in common, that I have in common with someone, and we will build from that opportunity. When we work and have to work through relationships and establish working relationships to get something accomplished. So that's what I would say.
That is so critically important. What a great superpower to have. Well,
I guess.
yeah. Mr. Secretary, it's been such a treat. Thank you so much for taking time to chat, and thank you for your decades of service. And I know that the future is going to be bright for Maryland with your leadership.
Thank you, Senator Kagan. Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. See you soon.
See you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks so much.